on, let's eat. So I got here sizzling chicken, steak as well. Here also, this one is a mulakia. So basically it's a leaves of okra. Yeah. Jiji kuha po, jiji babasit nga okra. Yung dahon niya. Saluyot. Then this one, beef bertang soup. Or in Arabic is a sanas fool. So it's really healthy. That one is a garlic sauce. So let's eat. That's our swimming pool here. Ubara. So let's eat. Really good. Apo, dula kami agad si ate. Agkamatikid din ay apo aya agarte arte dula amin. See that one? It's a skin of chicken. I love it. Most of the people, they don't like skin of chicken, but it's good for the health. You know what? If you train yourself not to eat much rice, why? Because we know very well that rice or any forms of carbs is not really good for the health. Most of us don't like fats. Well, if you're afraid of fats and you're not afraid of eating different forms of carbs like rice, french fries, and other stuff that are in the forms of carbohydrates, chicken wings. Let's eat. Look at that. Fats, boiled eggs with this bone marrow. I got also here protein, meat. I really love fats. Fats are good for the health. Natural fats. You know what? Fats really good for the health. Natural fats, especially grass-fed animals. Look at that. Boiled egg. Most of the days, I don't really eat rice. If I eat rice, it's just a small portion only. So basically, for 1 week, I just have rice twice a week. Really amazing. Fats from animals are really good for the health. See that one? I don't really understand. Most of us, they don't like fats, and they would say fats are not good for the health. No. It's really good for the health. Look, what do you prefer? Fats or carbs? Ni baka ni apo aya nadula ame garte arte. Apay baknang. Sorry. Bye. Hello everyone, this is your Manong-san, and I'm always saying good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all of us. This vlog is all about our health. We got three sources of fuels for our body. The first one is in the form of carbs or carbohydrates that are actually from different sources. It could be from rice primarily, root crops like potato, sweet potato, and other things. The second source of fuel for our body is what we call fats. Sources of good fats primarily are from different animals. And these are natural fats, especially if these animals are grass-fed animals. And the third source of fuel for our body is protein, especially natural protein. So let's have the first source of fuels for our body, carbohydrates. Basically, carbohydrates are good for our muscles and brain only. That's it, nothing more. And carbohydrates are the first to be consumed for our body and turned it into sugar. And we know very well that sugar is not good for the health, especially if it's too much. So basically, all carbohydrates are sugar. Like what I said, primarily speaking, we prefer to eat more rice. Why? Because carbohydrates are the ones to be consumed first or burned first in our body. And more sugar in our body, it leads to the different types of diseases like hypertension, high blood, high insulin resistance, high sugar resistance, diabetes, and other things. Why? Because of excessive intake of different forms of carbohydrates like rice. The second source of fuel for our body are fats. Like what I said, fats are good for the health, especially fats that are from grass-fed animals. Don't you know that fats are good for our heart? Yes, you heard me right, good for our hearts. And at the same time, it's good for our arteries, for our veins. And I don't really understand why most of us doesn't like fats. Someone would say, if you eat fats and it's stored in your body, chances are it can easily be clogged in your veins, arteries, or even in your heart. Actually, that's wrong connotation or knowledge or information. Look, the root of problem actually from too much consume of different forms of carbohydrates that can be formed into sugar into our body. And that is the start of different diseases. This is actually what happened in our body. When you eat bunch of rice or a lot of rice, and you would have meat with fats, take a look at this one. So more rice, little amount of meat with fats in it. So when you are full, you stop eating, and after a few hours, your carbohydrates that you ate become lower. But the meat or protein with fats that you ate becomes lower as well. But it's just a little only. So when you are hungry again and you want to eat again, more rice or more different forms of carbohydrates with that meat, fish, or any forms of protein, just like that, then after a few hours, your carbohydrates or your sugar becomes very low again in your body. Remember that carbohydrates are the ones first to be burned or consumed in our body. The good thing for fat is that when you have your window hours of fasting, for example, it's every 10 hours, 12 hours. If you can manage, you can have it every 12 hours or even in one day if you can. That's your window of fasting. Window hour fasting, I mean. So it's good. And that's now the work of our fast in our body when you are in fasting mode. Protein as well. If you don't have any foods for you to eat anymore, like carbohydrates or even fats, the last thing for you to consume in your body itself, or we call it autophagy, is your protein. So self-eating in your body. And it can be done only during fasting. And that is the good thing when you are fond of eating fats and meat. So if I were you, I would prefer to eat more fats and meat and not different forms of carbohydrates. Carbohydrates actually, it's not the most important part of our meals. Please take note of that. Some people would say, my insulin becomes low, my blood sugar becomes low after their checkup. Yes, of course. Why? Because you did fasting for how many hours? That's why it becomes low with this stuff when you are in fasting. But when you are done fasting and you keep on doing things or practicing eating more different forms of carbohydrates, there you go, it will come back again, to be sure. So my point is that, my humble advice, I would prefer to eat more fats and meat rather than different forms of carbohydrates. Why? Because it's good for fasting. When you have enough of fats in your body and protein, it can help you because of the so-called autophagy or self-eating. I hope you get something of what I have informed to you that can be learned and applied for your health. Bye for now. If you're a fat person, don't blame that you eat. Why don't you observe the different forms of carbohydrates that you take or eat? And that is the cause of obesity and different diseases. What? No, nothing. Excessive intake of carbohydrates is subject to different diseases. So if I were you, try to avoid carbohydrates to be eaten.